Motherhood can be a jarring experience for career-driven women because it's a time when so many of us feel stuck and unsure if we want to keep doing what we're doing in our careers, if who we are is matching what we want anymore. On the podcast today, we're going to talk about what I call the motherhood identity crisis and why it's so common for goal-focused and career-driven women to experience once they become moms. I'm sharing with you my own internal crisis that I went through once I became a mom, as well as several other women that I have worked with. And I'm offering to you three, this is exactly what I need results that happen for my clients when they decide to get unstuck and start navigating all the internal crisis happening within them. My friends, this is really why I became a coach, to help working moms navigate this crucial moment in their life and to help them stop feeling like they have to choose. I'm sharing it all right here. You ready? Let's get to it. Working moms, it's the holidays, and I have been thinking about you and dreaming about you having a stress-free season, and I want to help you make that happen. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to share a few ways you can get some extra support from me this holiday season. The first is a free pop-up chat community. Yep, I have opened up a community chat through WhatsApp so that I can offer more individual support during the holidays. I am so excited about this. I'll be answering questions, offering prompts to help you stay present. You can connect with other working moms, and this community is going to be a place to help you set your priorities and truly create the magical season you desire for you and your family. The chat has officially opened, and you can sign up by going to RebeccaOlsonCoaching.com/holiday chat. The second way I'm supporting you this holiday season is through a workshop I'm hosting on December 11th. It's called Simplify the Holidays: How to Create Magical Memories Without All the Stress. I want you to get that date in your calendar now and be on the lookout for a sign-up link soon. I'll be hosting the workshop twice on December 11th at 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to mark your calendars. And lastly, be on the lookout for a very special Black Friday offer, something I have never offered before, and I'm very excited about it. It'll be exactly what you need in order to remain calm, feel present, and actually enjoy the holiday memories. Make sure you're on my email list where I will be rolling that out soon. You can do that by heading to the show notes and clicking on a link there. All right, working moms, that is it for now. Let's get back to today's episode. Hello, working moms. I am so excited to be here with you today talking about an experience that so many women experience once they start having kids, but there just seems to be a lot of shame and guilt in it, and so we just don't talk about it a lot. Today, we're going to talk about the experience of feeling lost after you become a mom. I was recently having a conversation with a past client, and she described this loss of self to me. And she told me that that was really why she came to coaching. She literally hired me to regain her sense of self. That was how lost she was feeling. One of the terms I use to describe this experience, this sort of phenomenon that so many women have, is I call it the motherhood identity crisis. Who am I? And what do I want? These are the big questions that sort of define if someone is having a motherhood identity crisis. And it tends to happen anywhere from the moment you find out you're pregnant with your first all the way through your second or third child. At any point in there, if you find yourself asking questions like, who am I and what do I want? And feeling uncertain about the path that you're on, or if the path that you're on is even the one that you want to be on, where every decision that you make feels like it's not right. And somehow you are failing at absolutely everything. If that's your experience anytime in there, then that's when you are experiencing what I call the motherhood identity crisis. And I want you to know that you are not alone. Right? This sort of internal crisis is often associated, is often found at sort of the transition of motherhood. And to be honest, I'm tired of being so silent about this. We as women need to talk about every facet of motherhood, to normalize it for other people, but really to normalize it for ourselves. And so today I want to share a little bit about my own experience of regaining my sense of self, my own sort of motherhood identity crisis that I went through. And I want to share some stories of some of my clients as well, and ultimately talk about kind of what happens when you get through this identity crisis with much more intentionality. When you regain your sense of self, what happens? Okay. But before I even launch into that or any of that, really, I want you to understand why the motherhood identity crisis happens, particularly for ambitious and career driven women. If you are someone that is almost like hardwired, is how I would describe it. If you feel like you're hardwired to achieve and you have gone all into your career and you desire to be one of the top females in your company, if you're probably even the breadwinner of your family, you have your eye on that next promotion, you've been willing to go all in, to work 50 hours a week to get your job done, to be as successful as you possibly can, to move your way up. If that's been you, then pregnancy is likely one of the first seasons that you have been through in your life where you physically couldn't operate that way anymore. Or maybe you pushed through it, but it was at the sacrifice of your own mental health or even the health of your baby. Your body in pregnancy craves rest, right? You are literally building a tiny human inside of you, and that tiny human is taking away all of the extra nutrients and energy that you have. And so oftentimes right there, that's when the self-doubt starts to creep in. It's this wondering if you really can hack this. It's like, look, the kid isn't even here right now, and I can't even like figure out how to make it all work anymore, right? This question, can I really be a mom and be successful in the same way, that gets seated in your mind right there at that moment. And then, of course, you have the child, and that seed develops into a full-blown plant because not only is your body needing to recover from the birth and the late nights and the wake ups in the middle of the night and the sleeplessness, now you have a tiny human, right? And that tiny human takes up residence in your heart and your mind in an unfathomable way. You can't stop thinking about them. Your heartstrings that were once attached to some other things literally now feel interwoven with this tiny human almost instantaneously. When you are away from them, your whole body craves nearness. And it also probably repels them a little bit at the same time, if we're totally honest, right? The extra hours that you spent working combined with the amount of time and emotional energy you thought about work and all the things that needed to get done and all the things that you were doing and doing them excellently, all of that extra energy and time and emotional capacity, now it goes to your kid. And so now you start really feeling behind at work and really questioning what you're doing and why you're doing it and if you can do it, right? Big questions like, can I hack this anymore? Do I have what it takes? Am I still good at this anymore? Is this what I really want to be doing in my life? Is it worth it? Right? Big, big questions to be asking from ambitious women that have traditionally been very focused on goals and focused on achieving, right? So it makes sense why career driven, goal focused, ambitious women, those all sort of mean the same thing to me, why they lose their sense of self once they become a mom. Their way of thinking and operating and prioritizing simply will not work any longer. And yet, of course, they try. They try to do it the old way. They try to go all in with their time and their energy and all their thought space, and then they fail because they've got a tiny human at home that's sucking all of that up from them. And so then that failure, what they make that mean is that they can't do this. They're on the wrong path. They're doing something wrong. And then, of course, they try again. They just like pick themselves up and they try again because they can't not try. And so they go all in. They try to put all themselves back into work in the same way, operating in the same way with the same habits, without any boundaries, with a completely depleted emotional energy and mental energy. And of course, they fail again. And then they make that failure mean once again that they're doing it wrong, that they can't hack it, that they're incapable, that they're less than, that they can't be successful. Right. And then it just goes on and on and on. And we perpetuate the cycle as ambitious women in the middle of this motherhood identity crisis. It was like a light switch for me. When I was pregnant with my daughter 11 years ago, it was like the switch inside of me turned on and I started to question absolutely everything Up till this point, I had loved my job. I was good at it. I had worked my way up. I had had every position in the department. I was the lead in my department. I was even offered at one point like a chance to go after the director role. I ended up not doing that because I didn't want that kind of lifestyle. Didn't really want that job like trajectory. Like I was good at this job. I commuted an hour each way and I didn't mind that commute because I loved my job so much. It's crazy for me to think about that. I remember it so well. It took me 15 months to get pregnant with Lillian, and it was an excruciating time of dealing with infertility and wondering and questioning if we could ever really have the family that we had longed to have. And so when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, this like light switch like went on inside of me and I started questioning everything, big questions. What am I really doing with my life? Is this really what I want to be doing? Is this worth my time? Right? And it just went on and on and on from there. My sense of responsibility at that moment went through the roof. I felt absolutely trapped. I could not leave that job because I was the breadwinner and I held all the benefits. I felt responsible and I was dying inside. Who am I? And what do I want now that I'm a mom? These were the big questions that I wrestled with. And I have found so many other ambitious women to wrestle with as well. The client that I mentioned earlier that said, kind of used the frame regaining her sense of self. Her story was not so dissimilar, right? But it didn't feel like a light switch to her. It kind of happened over time. She had babies during COVID. At least her second one was born, I think, right around the time of the whole shutdown happening. And so she was forced to find new ways of operating, right? New ways of getting her work done and being focused and being productive while she worked at home, while she navigated a newborn, while she had a toddler, while she lacked childcare, while the whole, world was shutting down. I don't think she had any family loved near her, right? So her questions were slow, but they sounded very similar. Is this really what I want to be doing? This is hard. Is it supposed to be this hard? Maybe I'm doing it wrong. There was this constant, consistent, subtle questioning of herself that happened over the course of several years before she reached out for me for coaching. The women that hire me to help them through their motherhood identity crisis and to regain their sense of self, there are 3 things that I've really noticed that they want as a part of this coaching experience. And I want to break down each of them for you. The first is they desire this feeling of purpose, right? If they're going to be spending 40 plus hours a day or a week, away from their family, and they're going to be investing their best hours of the day to a job, they want it to feel purposeful, right? Meaningful work is often one of my clients' top 5 values because they don't want to waste any time, right? You only get one life. They don't want to get through their kids' younger years and feel like they missed out and regret the decision to invest in their career. This was ultimately what led me to become a coach and to find coaching and start a coaching business, right? My client Erica, years ago, she started her dream organizing business. My client Hillary decided to start her business as a contractor, doing the same work she was doing before, but getting paid more kind of on her terms with her flexibility. I had a client Emily who could not see her future trajectory at her current job. And so she went to start looking for another one. Or there was Aaliyah who said that she wanted to get paid more and that she deserved to get paid more. And so if she was going to do like the work that she was doing, she felt like she deserved to be paid more. And so she asked for more money and she got it, right? For some of my clients, this is a moment, it's a pivotal career moment. They've been working for probably a decade or more in their current career on the current trajectory. And they stop for a moment and they say, is this what I want? Am I getting what I want out of my career? Am I headed in a trajectory I want to be in? So regaining your sense of self means regaining a sense of purpose, alignment, right? Where you wake up every day and you get ready to go to work and you no longer have that feeling like you're saying, I don't know if I want to be doing this anymore. Is this what I want to be doing? And instead, there's this sense of grounded certainty. And you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. In fact, for a portion of my clients, Mondays become a day that they look forward to. Can you imagine that, right? Just like we all sort of look forward to the weekend and a time of less obligation towards work, when you have that sense of purpose that we all want, when we regain our sense of self, right? When you have that sense of purpose, when your work feels more aligned to who you are and what you want in this season of life, Mondays also become a day that you look forward to. It's so exciting when that happens. And of course, work still can feel hard. I run a business. I run a multi six figure business, and I still have lots of days that feel hard, and I have competing priorities, and I have to make decisions about those things, and boundaries are hard to hold to. But I almost never question what I'm doing. Almost never. Like 99% of the time, right? Maybe I'll give myself like 1% of the time those thoughts might cross my mind, but I almost immediately dismiss them. I know that I'm doing exactly what I am meant to be doing in this world. I know that I am the career that I've chosen, the trajectory I'm on is exactly the one that I want to be on. I never feel lost in my career, pretty much ever. That is what I want for you. That is one of the aspects of regaining your sense of self. The second result that comes from regaining your sense of self and really strategically navigating yourself through this motherhood identity crisis is a calm mind. Now, what I mean by that is that your mind is more focused, it's more controlled, right? It's not running 100 miles an hour, constantly thinking about the things that you're not doing and the way that you're failing people and things on your to-do list that you're not getting to that you really think that you should be getting to. That's one of the symptoms of feeling lost, right? Your brain second guesses everything and thinks that you should always be doing something that you're not doing. So then there's this loss of presence, right? When you feel lost in the motherhood identity crisis, when you're at work, you're probably not thinking about work all the time. You're thinking about the kids, you're thinking about what you're not doing for them, how you should be spending more time with them. You're replaying meltdowns in your head and wondering if you should have been doing things differently. You're thinking about how you're probably going to be sending your kids to therapy one day when they get older, right? Because you're doing things wrong. That's what you're thinking about. But then, of course, when you're at home trying to spend time with your kids and take care of your family needs, your brain is thinking about work and how you didn't get to those emails like you said you would, right? You're wondering if your team is actually feeling supported by you, if you're letting them down, if you should be doing more. You're kicking yourself for not making more time to strategically think or to prep. And you shame yourself for procrastinating on things and waiting to the last minute. So you never think that you're ever putting out your best work because of it. When you regain that sense of self, you regain your presence. You learn to listen to that negative talk track in your head and you give it a whole lot less weight. Your brain is just trying to help you out. So you don't forget anything, so you don't let anyone down. So you make the best decisions and you show up as the best possible mom for your kids and the best possible leader you can for your team. That's why your brain is focusing so much on the things that you're not doing and it's questioning the decisions you're making. But when you regain your sense of self, you realize that you don't have to listen to that voice so much anymore. It's not a voice of reason, it's a voice of fear. So you'll hear me ask this question of you in coaching a lot. When we start working together, I'll say, is that the voice of fear talking to you right now, or is it a voice of reason? And then I help you to develop a much more intentional mindset that focuses on the significant impact that you're making at work and all the things that you're doing right as a mom. Rather quickly, you'll be able to do that. So your brain starts to find this place of calm. Imagine being home with your kids, sitting around a dinner table, asking them about their day, and truly being able to listen to their answer. Imagine playing Candyland or reading them a book and snuggling or having a conversation with them, depending on what age your kids are, and being able to fully concentrate on them. Your phone isn't even within reach because you're not even thinking about work. You're not worried that somebody's going to notify you or something like that. You can't wait to hear what your kid is going to tell you about the next obscure or obscene comment they're going to make that's so funny and it's going to make you crack up, right? You can't feel like you're missing out on your kid's life when you have this level of presence. And it's one of the things that you gain when you regain that sense of self, when you get yourself through the motherhood identity crisis. The last thing that happens when you truly regain your sense of self is you become proactive again. Life stops feeling like it's happening to you. It stops feeling like a rinse and repeat. It stops feeling like the same old thing every day because you start to feel more in control. I spend about 4 to 6 sessions with my clients, helping them to articulate the things that are most important to them, what makes them special and unique, why they're here on this earth in the first place, and what's the reason for that, right? And then they have this list of words that truly defines who they are, where they know not just in their head, they like feel it in their body. Like, this is who I am on a human level. This is why I'm here. It feels so clear to them. So then they could start making decisions to live into the things that are most important to them and their unique strengths and the things that bring them life in a much more intentional, proactive way. They're able to literally go after opportunities that align with the things that matter most to them. Let me give you some examples. I had a client who identified these core pieces of who they were. I call this your compass, right? So after they do the work of articulating their compass and the things that make them tick and their strengths, she started to realize that she'd been holding herself back in meetings. But when she realized that the best qualities of her was her ability to ideate and her ability to problem solve, she started inserting herself more and she started speaking up more. And then she became somebody in the company. She was like known in her company for being this kind of problem solver, ideator. And it was so life-giving to her to like lean into it, but she hadn't been leaning into it because she was feeling like an imposter. She didn't know who she was. She had kind of lost her confidence. And once we were able to regain it back and really articulate it for her, she was able to lean in and she gained so much more joy and so much more like confidence in herself at work because of it. I had another client who was like a member of her kids' PTA, who was on a couple of local boards, who volunteered at homeless shelters, right? She did all these things outside of her job. And it was just too much for her. Her schedule was too crowded. And so when she articulated her compass and the things that mattered most to her, when she really looked at all of these commitments that she had, very quickly she was able to identify which ones were really important and then which one she had sort of had out of a sense of obligation. And so then from there, she was able to do the hard thing and release the commitments that were no longer life-giving to her. And even though that was hard, it was also really, really freeing. She knew exactly what mattered to her and the kind of opportunities that she wanted to commit to and the kind of opportunities she did not want to commit to and why. And she felt much more in control of her schedule and less committed. And then let me give you one more. I had another client. When she was really able to articulate her compass and feel that sense of purpose, she quit her job. It was so clear to her that this job was not aligned with what she wanted to do. The company did not have future opportunities for her, and she didn't want to waste her time anymore. And so she quit. Now, of course, she had the privilege of being able to do that because of what her husband did and her family situation, but she did the hard thing. And then she took a short leave of absence, and we together started really looking at where did she really want to take her career? What did she really want this next season to be for her? And she was so much more clear on what that was. And life felt so much more intentional when she was able to do that. Proactive, intentional, decided, controlled. That's what's going to happen when you regain your sense of self and know who you are at this really core level. You're going to look at your calendar and it's going to be filled with a bunch of things you really want to do instead of all these things that you feel like you have to do, feel like it's the responsible thing to do. It feels obligated to, right? The things that you might not want to be doing anymore. Your career path feel decided. Your mind feels calm. Your body is able to be present, and your commitments in your calendar, they feel chosen and intentional. This, my friends, is what happens when you regain your sense of self. Now, for some of you, you can just sort of muddle your way through these maybe early years of your kid's life and all of these internal questions that are going on. And if it doesn't lead you to quit or burn out before that, you might just be able to get to this place where you feel life feels more meaningful, things feel more proactive and calm. But I think for most women, instead of actually getting to this place that I'm describing, instead, they make big decisions to pull back in their career, to go part-time, to sacrifice themselves in some way because it's just too much. It feels like the only option they have in order to regain themselves and to take back control of their life is to pull back in their career. But my friends, this is not the only option. This is where coaching with me is a strategic decision to invest in your future career path. So you decide to go all in and be successful and experience joy in your career while at the same time prioritizing your family and feeling successful and joy in your family life as well. You don't have to choose. You also do not have to burn out and quit in order to get there. Hiring me as your coach to strategically and efficiently ask you the right questions at the right time, to call you out when you need to be called out, to provide you a process that is proven to work with hundreds and hundreds of women that have gone before you. That, my friends, is a solution. It's a solution worth investing in. The holidays are approaching, and there has never been a better time to start coaching with me. Not only can we start this process right now so that you end the year strong and focused, and you are guaranteed to have a much more successful, calm, balanced, intentional, proactive 2025, you're also going to have my support through the most stressful time of the year for most of us, which is the holidays. Right? The holidays bring extra commitments. It brings extra expectations. And if you're already struggling with commitments and current commitments and expectations, it's only going to get more exhausting from here unless you get help. I will help you decide what your commitments are this holiday season to stick with them. I will guide you through holding your boundaries so that you do not flood life with work and you pull back and you are very intentional with how you want to experience the holidays. I will coach you on how to speak up for what you need, to ask for the support that you need. You deserve a really wonderful, calm, restful, joy-filled holiday experience and life. You are not stuck. You are not lost. I will coach you all the way through it. The next step to work with me is to schedule your free breakthrough call. This is an offer that I give to anyone that is interested in working with me. This is not just a get to know you call. It is a strategy call where we set the vision for the proactive and balanced working mom life that you want. And we talk about exactly what's getting in the way of you achieving that on your own and what's going to happen if you keep trying to achieve it on your own. And then I'll lay out a plan for you of exactly how we're going to get you to this vision, this life that you want of balance, of being proactive, of purpose, how we're going to do all of that in coaching. I have made space for you, my friends, in my calendar. Please reach out. You can go to RebeccaOlsonCoaching.com/book to schedule that free strategic call with me. Can't wait to talk to you, working moms. Until next week, let's get to it. The next step to getting unstuck and having more days where you bounce out of bed feeling certain that you're doing exactly what you want to be doing, regaining your confidence, ending all of that negative chatter in your head, is to book a free breakthrough call. This is a strategy call where I will guide you through setting a vision for the life that you want to lead as a working mom, and then I'll lay out a plan for exactly how we will achieve that together through one-on-one coaching. You can book that call by going to RebeccaOlsonCoaching.com/book. All right, working moms, let's get to it.